Welcome to the Super Sports Bros Podcast, sponsored by Undisputed Nutrition and Bliss Body. I'm your host, John Buddha Phillips, professional wrestler, former Division III collegiate men's basketball player, and former high school boys basketball coach. I know sports, bro, and my goal was to start a unique podcast that broke away from traditional norms by exclusively featuring the views and opinions from guests with an athletic background. On the show, I'll be discussing various topics in the NBA, NFL, MLB, WWE, and UFC. Find us online through our social media accounts. Give us a like on our Super Sports Bros Podcast Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SSB Podcast 64 and check us out on YouTube, the Super Sports Bros Podcast. For bros, by bros.
What kind of amateur show are you running here?
This is so amateur it hurts.
God. Who do you think I am? You think I go on just any podcast?
I'm a big deal, Dad.
God.
Alright.
Get it together.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I, yours truly, John Buddha Phillips, and I am sitting here with my man, Pat Russell. He is here today, joining me on the Super Sports Bros Podcast to discuss fantasy basketball. Pat, take it away.
You paid me to be on here.
Not a lot.
I'm just kidding. You know what? Seriously, I'd like to compliment you on your haircut. Okay, you look like a little boy ready to go to the ball game. don't forget your glove. You might catch a foul ball.
Take me out to the ball. Alright, so for those of you that don't know, Pat is a former high school basketball stud. I can't emphasize that
High
enough.
school basketball
Stud, okay?
10 points a game.
They
They haven't done it yet, but number 11 should be retired in the Shrewsbury High School rafters. Okay,
It may be retired in my bedroom.
that's right.
I have a custom-made jersey that I ordered online.
Currently, he is a not one, not two, but three sport coach. This guy knows his stuff. In the fall, he is an assistant cross-country coach at Algonquin Regional High School. In the winter, he is the head freshman boys basketball coach and the varsity assistant boys basketball coach. And then in the spring,
He is the head baseball coach at Trottier Middle.
I'm hoping coaching 3 sports makes me qualified to be a sports bro. A super sports bro.
Does it ever? I don't think I've ever had a guest on the show yet with the resume that this man has.
No, it's a large stack resume.
So, how this all happened, Pat reached out to me with this idea that he would come on and talk fantasy NBA basketball. So we are going to do just that, ladies and germs. One of the reasons why I started this podcast is because there's a lot of people that claim they know sports, when the truth is they don't know shit.
Can I just tell you something, Buddha? Now, I want to come on and talk fantasy basketball because I don't want to be one of those guys who pretends that they know things when in reality they don't. I think there's something to be said about your statement. A lot of guys think they know sports. A lot of people try to pretend that they know sports just to go, oh yeah, I'm one of the guys to defend, but they really don't. I definitely try to not do that. I try to only talk about what I know. That may not be the case in a lot of times.
No, it's
But
not.
at least I.
That's why I started.
I
That's
just
why
what
I'm
we talk
doing
about.
this. To
Yeah,
get
so-
people together that can sit down and talk sports that actually know what they're talking about. Pat, you come from a different fantasy world than I do. I have spent many years on Yahoo. Yahoo.com, fantasy basketball, fantasy baseball, fantasy football. I've even dabbled in some fantasy hockey. But you come from a whole different world. That is the ESPN world of fantasy sports. Why don't you tell us a little bit about ESPN fantasy basketball?
Yeah, so I only do fantasy basketball, one-dimensional on that, but we do a points league. So scoring is based on points. So you take the number of points that a player scores, you take the number of rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, you add that up. and you subtract the number of turnovers they get, and that's their final score for the game. Now, we used to do everything's 1 point. We used to do that steals and blocks were worth 2 points, but now it's points are 1, assists are 1.5, I believe, and rebounds are 1.25, and steals and blocks are still 2, and turnovers are -1. So it's different from the category format that you use.
Before we get into that, have you ever done category before?
I have in the past, and I didn't really like it. We did that in Pat Crossing's league when we were back in the day.
Okay.
Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I've been friends with this guy for
Too long.
15 years, too long. God.
What do you not like about the categories?
Hey, are you gonna stop talking to me like you're a robot?
What do you not like about categories?
So, I remember doing the categories, and I don't really like how they had field goal percentage and free throw percentage. I mean, that's kind of hard to predict, and like nobody really cares about that. I suppose you could argue that, oh, well, you got to have a good sense of knowledge about the game, and I guess that's true. But for me, and I think for the guys in my league, it's just more fun to have a guy like James Harden who's going to have like 40 points, and you just add that up. Because if you score 40 or 50 in a game, you're still only competing for one category. If you win one category by a landslide, still only one category. But
That's
the
true.
way the points format, I mean, if a guy has a big night and 50 points or
You get
20
rewarded.
you get rewarded. And we also do bonus points for double doubles.
Yep.
I think it's plus 5.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
definitely a nice part of the points format is
Yeah.
to get those bonus points.
Plus 10 for triple doubles.
Those will
And-
make or break.
Hey, plus 15 for quadruple doubles, which nobody's had one. We've been doing this league for, I don't know, 6 or 7.
I think
maybe 8
somebody
years.
will.
Nobody's
eventually.
going yet. Who do you think would be the closest?
Man,
Jokic?
I was
AD?
thinking Luka Doncic for some reason.
Yeah, if you had 10
Jok-
steals.
Jokic,
I mean, Jokic doesn't get many blocks.
Anthony Davis, LeBron James,
Yeah.
those all-around players that play both ends of the court. Jimmy Butler, potentially.
Mm.
So I come from Yahoo. Was the time we did the league with Pat Cross and ESPN? I don't even know.
That
if
was
I
Yahoo.
in
That was
that.
Yahoo
Okay.
categories, and I wasn't
So
a fan
yeah,
of it.
I've never been in an ESPN fantasy league, so I can't speak on it. Right now, currently, I'm in a very competitive Yahoo category league. And I must say, as nice as it is to change it up and do something different, it is frustrating because I feel like, and we'll definitely discuss more later about, who he has on his team, who I have on my team. On paper, I got a great team. But then you look at the categories and I'm,
Paper.
yeah, I got
Hey, Kill.
Big money.
$5 sound. Sounds like.
I don't know.
big money.
Sounds
I
sort
got a
of
good team on
like.
paper, but then if you look at those weekly matchups and the categories, like, not so good. Not so good. So yeah, I mean, I'm coming out the gates a little slower than I anticipated. But hopefully, things start to turn. I'm not last place, but I'm a bottom dweller, I'll be honest.
Well, it's only been, what, 2 weeks? What are you
It's only
going to?
been a few weeks. I won the first matchup by the skin of my teeth and lost the second one pretty handedly. But I think with a couple maneuvers, with maybe some ad drops with free agency and maybe some guys that I thought weren't going to be panning out, maybe they start to play well. And I'm definitely going to be looking to make some trades. We'll talk about some trades later on the show. But I tell you what I'm not going to do. I am not going to get trade raped. Ba, ba, ba. So let's
You
get
might
into
say
it.
that, but it's harder than you think.
Let's say, hypothetically, somebody came to you and said, I'm doing a league, whether it's on ESPN or Yahoo, and they said it's categories. You in or out? Would you do it?
I don't think I would do a categories league. It wouldn't be that
You
fun
don't
for
like
me.
it that much, or you wouldn't do it?
No, it wouldn't be enjoyable for me. I enjoy
So it's
every
points
night.
only.
I enjoy every night watching the live games, looking at the numbers come in. There's something about categories that just, I don't know, I don't find it appealing. It's fun to look at a guy, click on a guy's name. Like I got Harden on my team. I took him with the 4th pick.
Mhm.
It's fun to click on his name and you look, grand total fantasy points, 76.5. You look at that stat line. Category, I don't know, just something about it that,
Rubs you the wrong way.
yeah, it's not as fun.
All right. Now, ESPN Yahoo, if somebody was running a Yahoo league, in that same breath, whether, obviously you said you don't want to do categories, so it's points, but you're ESPN. If someone said, I'm doing a Yahoo points league, are you partial to ESPN and you won't do a Yahoo league?
Is it the same?
Pretty much.
I mean, I guess I would. Yeah, but if you have more than one team, it's nice to be able to log into the ESPN app, whatever the Yahoo app, and have all your teams right there. But I guess I would.
Okay. So nothing's like keeping.
It's not like I'm going to boycott Yahoo.
Okay. Now we want to talk a lot about our own teams. I know everybody's foaming at the mouth to see who's on our teams, but let's go right ahead and jump into it. This is the ESPN League that my guest Pat Russell is involved in. Before we talk about who's on the team, what is the team name?
Well, last week I had so many guys injured, I changed my team name to the Banged Up Bunnies.
Banged Up Bunnies.
That's what we were last
week. Is there
week,
a picture of like a Space Jam reference?
Oh, no, that'd be a good idea.
What is your picture?
So my picture, James Harden was my first pick. So
picture of James?
Picture of James, I don't know can we get the camera to see this? It's a picture of him when he got caught at the strip joint at the start of the season.
No, I
he
like
got in trouble, he got fined for violating the COVID protocols.
I tell you what, you're going to send me that picture and I'll make sure we'll make it happen. Okay, so Banged Up Bunnies. Now I gotta ask, what was the original name?
Well, I did switch it back to this name, and I got a lot of veterans on my team, a lot of guys who have been pretty good fantasy players for a while now, so I call them the Fantasy Veterans.
Fantasy Veterans. So you started out with Fantasy Veterans, changed it to Banged Up Bunnies, now you're back to Fantasy Veterans?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
I'll tell you this though, I picked James Harden 4th overall, and I will say the years that I've had a higher pick, like 4th or 5th, I have not done as well. With the exception of the year that I picked Giannis with number 1. The years I've had like 3rd or 4th pick, I just haven't done it. When obviously it's a snake draft.
So
I like having like the 8th or 9th.
In the middle is where you haven't done well in the past?
Yeah, middle to high.
If you're up in the draft or at the bottom of the draft, you'll have more success in the long run?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the way it's been. So basically guys like Otto Porter, he's been around for a while, kind of a solid 25, 30 point. I'm talking fantasy points total night. I got Kevin Love. The best move I made so far was I picked up Kyle Anderson. He went undrafted, so I picked him up at the free agent list.
Great pick.
And I put a lot of money. So the way my league does it, you have a budget. We each have $200, and you bid on your players. So whoever bids the most money gets the player. So I put like $12 on because I was desperate. I don't think anybody else bid, but hey, who's laughing now? He had 50 fantasy points 2 nights ago.
Kyle Anderson?
23. Kyle Anderson. Yeah.
Does it tell you
Mr.
if anybody else bids on that same guy or how much they bid?
It does, yeah. You can look at the
So did
report.
anybody come close to the 12?
No.
What was the
I
next
made it down to
closest?
15. I don't even know if there was another bid, to be honest
Wow.
with you. I saw him play one of his first nights, and I was really impressed with him. I noticed nobody drafted him, so I picked him up. I think I watched on YouTube TV. Thank you, Nick Vellante. But yeah, Kyle Anderson. Keep an eye out for your free agent list to all you fantasy managers.
Yeah,
If you see that massive forehead glaring you in the face on the agent list, pick it up.
Him. And you get him now.
Pick him up, yeah.
If you're seeing this podcast, whenever it's up, and Kyle Anderson's still out there, and you don't pick him up, shame on you. Shame.
Thanks for reiterating my point.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
All right, so a lot of people probably hate on this pick. I know it's kind of a dumb pick. It was later in the draft. Ricky Rubio. Look, I'm not expecting this guy to have, by any means, a large number of points. Just give me 20 fantasy points a night. That's kind of the cutoff. I got Bogdanovich Bojan, the older one.
Jazz.
Yeah, from the Jazz. He's 2 years younger than us. He's 28. He's been in the league for a while.
Son of a bitch.
He can shoot, put up points. I picked up this kid, Naz Reid.
Yeah.
Let me get to who I had to drop to pick. The most disappointing player ever in my fantasy basketball managing career has been Hassan Whiteside this season. I drafted him maybe like 6th or 7th overall, like expecting him to get double-doubles.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything. Now, he's playing for Luke Walton, so I don't know what he did to get on his bad side. But he's been playing 15, 10 minutes a game, and he got benched the other night. And I said, I can't wait around for this. I'm 0-2. Cut and run.
I know they have
Years
Sean Holmes and Marvin Bagley, but look at last year. All right, he's on the Trailblazers. There's Yusuf Nurkic, right?
Yeah, big man.
And then he goes down with injury, and then Whiteside's good to go. But even with a healthy Yusuf Nurkic, he was making a difference on that roster. Rashawn Holmes is not that good when it all was, and Marvin Bagley, his own father, wants him to be traded off of that roster. I mean, if Hassan Whiteside can't crack the rotation of the Sacramento Kings, regardless if Luke Walton's the coach or whoever, where does he fit?
Remember when he was with Miami? I mean, he was putting up monster numbers. He was one
He
of the
had
best guys in the
something,
league.
you know what it was?
Number
though?
fantasy numbers was.
He had something to prove in Miami. They started him with
I don't know if it was 1 or 2 10-day contracts because he was out the G League.
Oh yeah.
I think it was the D League
D League
back
at the
then.
time.
And he had something to prove, and then they signed him after he proved he could hang, and you know.
Well, dude, even still today, the minutes that he plays, he puts up a lot of numbers. Like he'll play
I
10
know.
minutes, but he'll still have 8 points, 5 boards. I mean, imagine if he played 30, a block or 2.
You are not the only fantasy owner that feels this way about this guy.
Yeah.
You may be one of a few fantasy owners that cut him loose. You know, a lot of guys are still holding on to him.
Does anyone have him in your league?
Yeah. Shout out Joe Arceleo, who is an avid listener of the podcast.
So now, Joe, I don't know what his team's record is.
Not good. He's in last place, but he is definitely on the side of the fence, and he could tell you better than I could that he thinks Whiteside's going to be an impact player at some point in the season.
He probably will. And my biggest fear is that I dropped him, and then in a week or two, he's going to start putting up, 15, 10, 5 blocks. So
let me ask you this: besides the fact that Luke Walton's the head coach, because that's a whole other topic for debate, what do you think the reason is for this?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Now, we can't really watch the Kings play.
No.
We don't see them play too much, but I have no idea why he's not playing over those guys.
I didn't draft Whiteside. I don't have him on my fantasy team. I wanted him at one point, but seeing how he's doing, I don't want anything to do with him. But my feeling is that there's something off the court going on. I don't know if it's contract. I know he was just a free agent, right, from the Trailblazers. All of a sudden he ends up on the Kings. Luke Walton's the coach. There's got to be some off the court something or other going on that's messing with this guy's psyche, where he doesn't feel maybe engaged, for lack of a better word. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes at practice or whatever with the organization,
Not a game.
GM.
Not a game.
You know what I mean?
Not
There's
a
a lot of
game.
things going on.
You're
It's just
talking about
you look at their roster and you just scratch your head this guy, how tall is that guy? 7
What is he, 6'11"?
6'11"?
6'10", 6'11", long as heck.
He would block a lot of shots last year. He's putting up, 15 rebound games? And
Yeah.
definitely scoring in double figures. And
Yeah.
that guy can't crack the rotation?
Yeah.
Something's got to be going on. And I don't think it's coronavirus related.
Yeah,
I think
get
it's
Luke
something
Walton
else.
on this podcast, and we'll
Yeah.
pick his brain.
Hey, Luke, if
what
you're
are you doing?
listening,
You're hurting my fantasy team.
Get
I'm
away.
a 6th or 7th pick. I don't care who your dad is.
Yeah.
That's awful.
It's your fault. All right, moving on.
I got Drummond, who's been having a heck of a year, big time year. He's always been a 15 rebound dude.
You know, I like to call Andre Drummond the funky drummer.
But looking at his stats, he had a game where he got 18 and 17,
Sorry.
3 steals. And a lot of these guys, I don't watch them play. So the other day I went on YouTube and typed in Andre Drummond highlights, and he actually handles the ball.
Yeah.
And I thought he just stayed down low. I didn't know he handled the ball.
When he came into the league, I remember he's one of those guys you don't want dribbling. He's one of those guys that has really worked on his weaknesses in the offseason. I know that he's not reliable from three-point range right now, but he's worked on it from when he entered the league out of UConn, right? This guy couldn't dribble, he couldn't shoot from perimeter, and nowadays, right, he can.
Yeah.
If he's wide open for a 3, I don't have him on my team, but I'd be hard-pressed to see he's probably made a couple three-pointers this year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he takes 1 or 2 a game.
Yeah,
maybe,
so,
but,
hey.
stick one.
The coach wouldn't let him shoot the 3s if he didn't think he could make them.
Yeah. I got my man Vooch, Nikola Vucevic. I've had him 3 years in a row. This kid is just a reliable guy. Day in, day out, he's putting up anywhere between 35 and 50-plus fantasy points. He's been doing that for years.
Vooch.
And he's a fun guy to watch, too. He's fundamental. Hey, if you're in a categories league, he's a good guy for field goal percentage. 9 for 16 the other night, so...
I've seen him
big
hit
fan
a
of
couple
that guy.
3s, too.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
shoot
think
from outside, he
you
can
wouldn't
post up.
think he could.
He
You get
scores a
assists?
lot of different ways. He'll get some assists.
Some here and there?
He can't pass like the Joker, but
No.
5, 4,
Oh, that's not bad.
The other day I picked up, here's a name, Dario Saric.
Boo!
Now here's a guy, yeah, I know, most people probably laugh
Boo
at
this
guy.
man!
My team's struggling right now, so I need to take a chance.
I
I don't know, man.
don't know if I want to boo you as a fantasy basketball manager or boo Dario Saric more.
Do you have a bonehead move of the day award on this podcast?
No,
Or,
but if I did, you'd be up for a nomination. You want to talk about a bust? An NBA bust. That guy has bust written all over him.
Well, he spent too much time trimming up his facial hair than working on his basketball game.
Exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong, you told me you got Harden at 4. I myself had the 9th pick I did not
Yeah.
get the luxury of getting James Harden.
Obviously.
I like to name my teams after like any type of connection I can make to a TV show or movie with the sport I'm playing. You know, I'm a big South Park fan. He knows that. Everybody who knows me knows that. So most times I'll do some stupid South Park reference. This time around I just went with the worst basketball movie, or not. It's not even a basketball movie, is it? But the worst movie involving a professional basketball player, maybe the worst movie involving a professional athlete, was Kazam. Shaquille O'Neal, back when he was, you know, professional NBA basketball player / rapper, which, could you name a famous Shaquille O'Neal rap song? Because I fucking couldn't.
That's how I beat Shaq.
That's
It's not by him. It's not by
It's
him.
Aaron Carter, and he's in the
He
music
started
video,
the
and
music
the
video.
song's about him.
That's
But could you name a famous Shaquille O'Neal rap song that he made himself? Because I couldn't.
Break the Glass. He wrote it about when he shattered the
Okay.
glass.
Do you know any of the lyrics?
Yeah.
Besides Break the Glass?
Break the glass. Break the glass. You try to guard me, I'm gonna put you on your ass.
Is that really how it goes, or you just
No, I'm just
spit
kidding.
on?
I just made that up.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Thanks.
We gotta sign this guy to a record deal.
I don't know any
Um,
rap song by him.
Yeah, me neither, man. And that just goes to show you, like, I don't know. I feel like if we walked around the streets or like grabbed random people, hey, do you know a Shaquille O'Neal song? They wouldn't know. And correct. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in years. He was a genie.
I've never seen that movie, to be honest with you. I've
All
never
right,
seen
he
it.
was a genie. I'm pretty sure that would just like throughout the whole movie just go like that and say Kazam, and it was really bad. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to take our word for it, I mean, you haven't seen it. I've seen it maybe once or twice.
Let us know how it is.
Don't waste your time. If my opinion of movies means anything to you, like I'm telling you right now as my friend, if you don't want to waste like an hour and a half of your life,
Well, I'm appearing on this podcast, so.
that. You know, what are we talking about?
Just kidding, man. Just kidding.
So yeah, I named my team originally Kazam, and then I didn't think like that was good enough because like you've changed your team.
You name your team name Kazam?
Yeah, straight up Kazam.
Who's on your team relates to that?
I didn't have anybody drafted yet when I had the team name.
You didn't name it Kazam.
Well, I mean, I wanted to name it after, you know, a basketball, you know, related movie, and then I'm thinking about, you know, okay, Shaq was in Kazam, and you know, so the picture of my team, and I'll pull it up and put it on the podcast, is the actual, you know, genie, Shaq.
I'm sure you
from the
named
movie.
it Space Jam in the past.
Probably somewhere along the lines. Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
Some place with 3-on-3.
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
doesn't even have it anymore, guys.
You know, he probably doesn't even have it
So-
anymore, guys.
I'm also a nerd, if you guys don't know that about me, and I grew up being a huge Pokemon fan, and you know, let's get nerdy real quick on the podcast. All right, you cool with
Alright,
that?
you get the right guy at Lord of the Rings.
Podcast? Did you do Pokemon?
Maybe.
A little bit. Abra. You evolve Abra, he goes to Kadabra. You evolve Kadabra, he goes to Alakazam. So I was thinking, all right, I got my team name picked, Kazam. I like Pokemon, Alakazam, and then I jammed them together. Now my team name is Kazam.
How did you get Pokemon into basketball, though? That's what I don't get.
Kazam, Alakazam, and then I'm, you know, I don't know, I was thinking like, do I want to name my team Alakazam in one word and have it be a reference to the Pokemon, or do I want to try to make it like clever and put the guy's name as like Al and then middle initial A and then Kazam?
Hello, is Mr. Kazam there, please?
Yeah,
First
aging
name.
Dr. Kazam. You know, like, he sounds like
First
a.
name Al.
I'm not
his
trying
middle
to-
Initial A.
I'm not trying to knock.
I'm looking for an Al A. Kazam.
Doesn't he
It's
sound?
Al Kazam in the restaurant.
Doesn't he sound like a custodian or a janitor? Al Kazam.
I don't
He
know.
could work at your high school, you know. Mr. Kazam, Mr. Al A. Kazam, to the cafeteria, clean up on aisle 5,
He could vanish.
level midnight. Alright, back to it. So I had the number 9 pick in my draft in a category league on Yahoo. Again, shout out to Joey Dots for running such a good league. I did not like having the 9th pick out of 10 managers. I mean, I know it's obviously serpentine, so you know I lucked out in that regard where I went 9 and then didn't have to wait super long in the second round and then was able to get the second pick of round 2. When I was drafting, I knew I was in a category league, but I also said, okay, I have the 9th pick, so I'm not going to get like, you know,
some of the better guys that I want at 9, right? Because they're going to go. So going into the draft, I had a mindset that regardless of the categories, right, I just wanted to get the best player available. I'm not talking about positions. I know, like, in categories, it's a big deal to make sure you get the best position available, regardless of who the best player is.
Yeah, that's definitely a different
But-
mindset when you draft.
I don't know. Maybe I went in with the wrong mindset. It's starting to show now. So I mean, maybe I screwed up in the draft. Maybe I didn't. I just tried to get the best basketball player available, regardless of position. So it went a little bit like this. Round 1, I got LeBron James at pick 9.
Oh, I'm surprised LeBron fell that late.
9.
Obviously,
Yeah.
he puts up across the board, but
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I think a lot of people think Anthony Davis is the number 1 guy out in LA, and I beg to differ, but whatever. Round 2, I got Devin Booker, pick 2. Round 3, I had to wait a long time, but I ended up with Jimmy Butler, who I felt slipped. I didn't feel like there was any reason for him to be there when he was there. The managers in my league were commenting during the live draft, like, great pick, you know what I mean? So I knew it was a good pick. Round 4, I got De'Aaron Fox. I think he's the fastest player in the league, right?
faster than John Wall when he was healthy.
See how you had to say that?
I'm just trying to think of, in terms of raw speed. Yeah.
You had to say it like that, though, when he was healthy.
Yeah.
Guess what? He is healthy, but he's not as fast as he used to be. What do you have, an Achilles injury? Or was it a
I
knee?
don't remember.
Regardless, he's not the same speed he used to be. He's still one of the fastest players, guards in the league, you know. But De'Aaron Fox, let's say like the Kings get a rebound and then make an outlet pass, like good luck. You know what I'm saying? No one's keeping up with him. before.
Fast top speed, yeah.
Okay. In round 5, I nabbed CJ McCollum, who has been very good for me this year. I didn't even anticipate how good he would be, you know. In round 6, I scooped up Tobias Harris.
Oh,
Now-
nice.
Yeah, he started out the gates a little slow, and I almost traded him, you know, but he's starting to
Give him some time, yeah.
play some good ball.
He's
All
a
right.
fantasy veteran.
Round 7, I had my eye on Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies for that IR spot, but then he went, right, in that same round.
Oh, yeah.
So then, with my mindset being just take the best available guy regardless of position, it was Kemba, because everyone was staying away from him because of the injury. So I said to myself, all right, you've got the IL spot. He's the best available. Just grab him. So jury's still out on Kemba whether or not he's going to even play this year. So, you know.
Well, that's always a hard decision. At what point in the draft you want to take a gamble on someone
Yeah.
who's going to be out for a few weeks, a month, 2 months?
Yeah. Something told me if I didn't take him then, because I had to wait, you know, I don't know. I felt like I should have took him then. Something's telling me now that that was a terrible decision because I don't think he's going to suit up anytime soon, if at all. Round 8, Lauri Markkanen. Round 9, Julius Randle.
Ooh, wow. He's been having a heck of a year, huh?
Yep. Round 10, Colin Sexton, one half of Sexland. Did you know that?
Is that what they call
Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. They call
Oh.
it Sexland because it's Cleveland, and they
That's
call it
pretty
the
good.
land. And then you take Sexton and Garland and you mash it together and you get Sexland.
them? They must
That's what
both
they
be
call it.
ladies' men.
Yeah, probably. Round 11, Serge Ibaka.
Yep.
Round 12, DeAndre Jordan. I'm going to put a pin in that. Round 13, Miles Bridges, who is no longer a member of Alakazam. And round 14, Derrick Rose. Pick because despite all the hardships he's been through in his career, he had a nasty year last year. Numbers-wise, it was comparable to his Chicago Bulls like prime.
Oh, really?
Crazy. But this year, not so much. All right, DeAndre Jordan. Let's talk.
He was supposed to be my guy last year. He's
Sim-
splitting time with
Yep, Jarrett, and
Jackson.
that's being generous the way you're putting it, splitting time. He's not splitting time with Jarrett Allen, okay? Similar to Hassan Whiteside, get it together! This is DeAndre Jordan we're talking about. Steve Nash, right? First year coach, do your fucking thing, dude. All power to you, kudos, tip my hat, whatever. And he starts DeAndre Jordan, but like very quickly, in comes Jarrett Allen off the bench and just gobbles up all the minutes and the rebound.
Well, it's tough because they're very similar in that, like, obviously
I know.
DeAndre Jordan is a, what do you call it?
Rim protector.
A rim protector, but, like, usually gobbles up rebound. His shoulders
Yeah.
are like my wingspan.
Yeah.
He takes up so much room, and he gets so many rebounds. Kind of like Drummond, except Drummond's a little bit more complete, I would say. But in the past, DeAndre Jordan has been an automatic double-double.
That's
guy.
what
Like,
I'm saying.
Automatic double, like 12 and 15 or something like that.
You know how you didn't want to wait on Whiteside and you cut him loose? Like, that's where I am with DeAndre Jordan. I am still holding on to him, but my patience is running thin.
How many minutes a game is he getting?
It's like 15, like
Yeah.
11. Like,
And is he
it's
producing
10.
in those minutes?
No, well,
Like for the
4
minutes.
points, 5 for the minutes.
So, yeah.
But like for the categories I need,
Yeah. Well, that was
it's just an extra body taking up space. I'm literally this close, DeAndre Jordan, to sending you away.
Did you hear that?
Whether it's a
Did you hear that, DJ?
I
He's
don't-
gonna cut you.
Do you want
I
that?
don't care
Don't
if
you
I
want
gotta-
to be on Alakazam?
If I gotta trade you, cut you, like what manager out there would say, yeah, send me DeAndre
How are you
Jordan?
gonna feel if you're no longer part of the Alakazam squad?
But yeah, I mean, my thing is this, like Steve Nash, Brooklyn Nets, figure it out, dude. This is DeAndre
Is
Jordan.
Steve Nash first year?
Yeah. This isn't like some bum we're talking about, right?
How old is he now? 31.
He's up there, but like, you
Still,
said it
yeah.
yourself. The guy's a big
But
dude.
again, Jared Allen, I mean, they're kind of the same position. I mean, Jared Allen is obviously a
You can't put
massive
these guys
guy.
on the floor at the same time, right?
No, I wouldn't say so. So unless, with Katie and Kyrie, I mean, hey, have them take all the shots. And
That's
just,
what I mean. Just go get
put those two
guys.
loads down there and get
But-
as many rebounds as you can, protect them.
The way the game has changed, it's more, it's a faster pace. It's not a slow half-court kind of game. It's a
Right,
fast.
right. A lot of threes.
So if you
So many
have
threes.
those two big guys on the court at the same time, you can have KD and Kyrie Irving on the court, and then that fifth guy. But then you lose the fast break battle because those two big guys aren't going to be able to run up and down the floor, keep up with the faster guards.
Yeah, good point. If your team
It's
goes
a-
small, you'd be in trouble.
It's ironic that we see a lot of that small ball shit nowadays, and you don't see like the two big guys on the floor. We're big Celtics fans, shocker, right? You turn on your TV. What is Peyton Pritchard doing out on the floor with Jeff Teague at the same time? It's like, damn.
I don't know what Brad would try to do with that lineup.
I don't understand it, but that's why I'm not a professional
I mean,
NBA
yeah,
basketball
I mean,
coach.
Brad knows what he's doing. I'm not gonna
Okay,
question him.
so a couple changes have been made to Alakazam. I picked up Mason Plumlee, who's been a stud. He's not an elite talent in the NBA, but like numbers wise, the guy, he not only gets some points and rebounds, like I'm talking like a double-double.
What's he getting? Like 12, 10, and 7?
Yeah,
Or like,
and he also dishes out some assists too, and maybe picks up
Okay.
a block here and there, so that's been solid. Bobby Portis is a head case.
is he going to
But-
punch anybody this year?
Not yet, Bobby, if you're listening,
It's okay. We got an extra spot on the IR suspended list.
yeah,
So
don't worry about it. We'll take care of
It's
you.
all good.
He's been taking minutes away from Brook Lopez, and he plays on the Bucks, and he does his thing. So I took him, free agent. Yeah, that's it. Just a few maneuvers here and there. I'm not happy. Like on paper, good team, but results-wise in the category league, not so good.
Yeah. If it was real basketball and you assembled that team with your coaching background, your playing background,
I don't know.
I'm sure they would really gel together as a unit. I'm sure that's kind of what you were thinking
Give the ball,
subconsciously
give the ball
when
to
you picked that
LeBron
team.
and stay out of his way. That's what I would say. All right. So you mentioned something earlier about a budget and bidding, and being that I'm not from the ESPN background of fantasy sports, I just wanted you, and for any listeners out there that don't know what you mean when you say budget and bidding on players, could you break that down for us a little bit? How much money do you start?
Every manager starts, and that this year we're doing with a $200 budget.
Woo wee! Big
But
bucks.
if you want to acquire some.
Sounds sort of like.
Name the movie.
$200. How's that sound?
Name the movie.
Oh man.
I referenced it earlier too. Can you name that movie?
How does
$10
$10 sound? $10.
Kind of like.
Yep.
I don't know.
I got it. Good burger.
Okay.
Sounds sort of
All
like.
right. Go ahead.
Anyway, so
Budget.
every manager starts with a $200 budget. But if you want to pick somebody up, you go to the free agent list, you claim that player, you drop a player, or if you have a spot, you take him, and you bid down as much money as you want. Whoever puts down the most money will get that player. Now, if there's a tie, to be honest, don't tell the guys in my league this. I'm not even exactly sure how it works. There's some sort of waiver priority. It may have been what you were describing to me earlier, but I just bid a lot if I really want somebody. So
Don't tell the guys in his league.
But that's kind of how it works. And the key is to save money for the playoffs, though. Because in the playoffs, we do 2 weeks. So it's really long matchups.
You kidding me?
I mean, last year you
Playoffs?
could have a max
I
of
just hope we can win a
15,
game.
maybe 17 acquisitions throughout the playoff matchup. So if you want to win, you have to be streaming guys, a guy a day, a couple guys a day, and try to get as many games as you can. And that's when you really need money. But again, you do need to make it to the playoffs in the first place. So that's why I've been throwing a lot of dough out on like Anderson,
Yeah.
You gotta get to the dance, right?
Yeah, so
And don't blow your load.
don't blow your dough.
Don't blow your load, don't blow your dough. I mean, we all know this, you know. I shouldn't say we all know this because there's some fantasy managers out there that don't know what they're doing, okay? My point is this. When you get close to the end of the season, come playoff time in fantasy sports, not necessarily playoff time in real sports, because we know not everybody gets to the dance, right? You know, let's talk fantasy basketball. Fantasy basketball playoffs start at the end of the regular season. But we both know this because we're not dumbasses when it comes to fantasy sports. Towards the end of a season, when teams have already made the playoffs, right, what do they do with their starters a lot?
No, exactly.
They try to pull the reins back a little bit.
Keep them fresh for the playoffs.
So some guys on the bench who may not crack the rotation early in the season that are in the free agent pool, right? Now they're
I
commodities.
get more minutes. That's,
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Injuries happen towards the end of the season. Long seasons. I know it's a shortened season, but you know, you have 82 games, now it's 72 games. Injuries are still going to happen. So at the end of the season, when, you know, some of the playoff teams are a little banged up, they want to rest their main guys, you got to go spend a couple of your $200 budget on, you know, free agents that may have not been a big name, a big commodity in the beginning of the year that are at the end. To
Yeah,
make,
absolutely. And I
You're right.
never thought that's a good point.
I mean, you never thought of that.
Well,
Maybe you
those
never
guys
didn't start to say that, but you know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not trying to defend you, I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
for you to sit...
You're defending myself from myself. You're defending
Allow
me from myself.
myself
to introduce myself.
Myself.
I mean, at the end of the year, like, you gotta be able to have a little bit of your budget put away for those guys that all of a
So
sudden...
you guys don't use a budget system?
No.
Don't worry, I have on the body system.
Yeah, body. One name to throw out there that probably is going to be one of those guys is that Horton Tucker from the Lakers.
Okay.
He probably is sitting on a free agent right now, but at the end of the season, pick him up!
Pick 'em up.
All right.
Yeah.